Hello, this is Mesh, and welcome to another Twin Peaks Theories video. I think this is my third Theories video on the entire Season 3 of Twin Peaks. So this one is around Diane and Coop, what happened to them when they went through the Vortex, a possible shift in time, timelines, and parallel universes. Okay, so theory number 1, trying to make sense of what actually occurred towards the end of episode 18. So I think I got this theory from a combination of forums and comments. So the theory goes that the whole ending of episode 18 was really a trap for Judy, which the firemen planned from the get-go. So the removal of Laura Palmer from Coop's grip, that was the firemen. To sending Coop and Diane back to an alternate reality to find Laura again, that's the firemen. Then Laura manages to track down Judy, and we see her actually destroy her at the end. So the entire reality which they're in was destroyed. So the scene where we see Coop and Laura Palmer at the Palmer's house, and she screams and the house fades to black, that is the final curtain call of that entire reality. So it's like a prison existence, a small encapsulation of a universe, and that is solely designed to trap and destroy Judy. Quite like that theory. I'll go into it a bit more in a second, but I just want to add another second theory here. Then I'll talk about some points which kind of correlate with them both. So theory number 2, that Coop lost Laura completely. So he went back to find her, and hence the travel on their portal. So Coop and Diane sacrificed themselves to change time and reality to reach Laura in Odysseus. Both of these points work with these theories. So just bear with me while I try and explain collaborating facts around these theories. Okay, so the scene with Diane seeing herself, her reaction seems so strange. I wonder if perhaps we're meant to interpret that as a dream or possibly a vision. So a few real cliche reasons to why you'd see your doppelganger in a dream. These are from some real classy websites, so stand by for some awesomeness here. So if your doppelganger is in your dream and it's evil, it could be that you need to face the bad that you have done and find a way to make up for it. Another interpretation is you see doppelganger because you're going to go through a change or transformation. Another one is you may be feeling haunted, or you're haunted by a guilty conscience. So then moving on to the next scene after that. So bear those points in mind. Then we see Diane and Coop doing their weird, creepy, ritual, sexy time scene. So if you line up episode 8 and episode 18 side by side, the sex scene matches nicely with the nuclear explosion. Take from that what you will, but I don't think, in my opinion, that Lynch would design his work to require that level of matching multiple episodes side by side. I don't think that's his style. But you could interpret that ritual as a opening portal if you want to. The same as how Bob came through the nuke. Possibly the timing is there on purpose, and maybe there's a portal opening or a portal closing. But it's something to point out. In addition, an awesome idea as well, which was come up, is if you remember back in episode 1, we had the glass box. So the entity, which I assume was Judy, was lured out of that box and by those two characters unintentionally when they started getting it on. So we saw Judy kill them. So could Coop and Diane be luring Judy into this realm, into that trap? So this goes back to the theory 1. So hence this is all a big trap for Judy, and possibly this is the bait. I also think another option here with Coop and Diane's scene. Could this be a final step in reaching Odysseus, reaching that location? So when I said before, they're kind of sacrificing themselves in that ritual, sacrificing their memory, or sacrificing themselves or the memory of who they are to travel to Odysseus to get to Laura. Because we see no other form of travel, and they go to sleep in one hotel, wake up in another. To get to this other version of Odysseus, perhaps that ritual was required. And that's why we see Diane see herself with that doppelganger, because she's going through a transformation. Okay, now final theory here. So that kind of ties up with both theory 1 and 2. Just thought I'd point it out. So my final theory, going through the vortex. So cast your mind back to our good old friend Bill Hastings. Now, Bill Hastings had a website. If you're not aware of it, a link is below. So that's the search for thezone.com. If you've never found this website previously, so our good friend Bill Hastings, who met that unfortunate demise in the back of the cop car, He had a website around paranormal investigations, and it was actually a real website that someone made, obviously from Twin Peaks, and it's still online now as well, so you can go and check it out. So I was rereading some articles that are linked on that site, and some of them really stand out now around parallel universes and density shifting. In overview, it's an article. The main one is an article about dark matter, string theory, particles, 5 dimensions, XYZ time. It's a really laborious read, but still, a few sentences in there really resonate with me. I'm not claiming to understand string theory or dark matter, or even if this article's factual at all. It's only that it may have served as a platform for ideas for Lynch and Frost. For me, it really explains when Coop and Diane go through that final vortex. So here are some points. I'll try and join the dots around the differences between the parallel universes according to this article. So here we go, bear with me. If an entity living in the 4th density, so 4th universe, moves to the 3rd universe, will they experience a variance in progression of time? The answer is no. Mankind is familiar with the density constant by another name, which is the cosmological constant. So meanwhile, to an observer in any confined density level, light will travel at its new rate of speed per standard unit of time for that parallel universe. So the progression of time is transparent to you because you have no anchor points or comparison. So in the 4th density, light has a velocity of 17 times faster than in the 3rd density time. It's progressively slower than in the 4th than the 3rd. But to an entity in the 3rd density visiting the same, it seems the same no matter where they go. So when the frequency is moved to density level 5, so the 5th dimension, the velocity of light is approximately squared, so which the time slows down in proportion. So I guess the idea there is that whilst you wouldn't recognize the time difference swapping between universes, there is a time difference. What else has changed as well with this theory? So in density level 4, a new universe appears, so it's less crowded in a number of stars. So some stars will be in the same relative positions in a parallel universe, but the luminosity and the mass effect will be different. Okay, so that's it. I hope you're still there, and if that made sense at all. So I guess the concept here that could the change in the stars, the inherent mass, the luminosity, have an inherent change in the universe, which explains the obvious change in Coop's demeanor. Spiritual people will claim that they're affected by the moon. Could this be an idea here that it's such a different universe that it's affecting him mentally here? And around the time, so it's this idea there that changing between the different universes is a different density, therefore the light is different, and therefore time is different, but you wouldn't notice it, but it is different. Therefore, if you went back to a different universe, parallel universe, that would be at a different time than where you've come from. And that's how I interpreted that. Now, that might be completely wrong, but I think it really matches what we've seen in Twin Peaks. So I think that's pretty cool. Let me know your thoughts on that. Another article which is referenced, the many worlds interpretation or a multiverse. So the main point to take away from this other article, in a nutshell, is one can just choose to accept that all the possibilities are true. So every fork in the road makes new universe in the multiverse. That is why when they enter this universe, it's different but familiar. I really like the combination of the two articles. So you could say that they've made this new universe because of the changes that Coop has done, and the reason the time is inherently different is because of the density, and the reason that Coop is different is because of that, once again, the kind of density and the luminosity and the stars and all that stuff. So I think for me it paints a nice picture of what Lynch may be trying to portray. But once again, this is a pretty far out there theory. I think the theories are going to get even more far out the longer we go from season 3, right? I think what adds a little bit of validity to the theories from that website and how obviously Lynch or Frost has intentionally made this website and linked these articles to tell us something. So I quite like that, is that it adds this kind of validity to using those articles as a theory, combining them to make sense of Twin Peaks. I quite like that. Maybe not validity, but just gives it a little bit more credence. Okay, so there was a few more theories to add to the mix. Well, fragments of theories to combine with your own, whatever you shall wish. So in summary, the more I watch, the more theories. The more I hear, and read, the more I realize I don't think we'll ever get a definitive answer, a definitive theory. Compare Twin Peaks to something like Westworld, for example. The theories we all guessed there or toyed with, I guess, for example, the Men in Black. Who was the Man in Black? What is the maze? In the end, of course, it was William, and the maze is a reference to AI consciousness. So we got the closure in Westworld. I don't think we'll ever get any closure like that with David Lynch. He said it in a few interviews I've heard recently as well. So the best description of one of the things he mentioned is, if you're reading a novel and you wanted to ask the author what was the meaning of a part or an idea or a storyline, then you find out that the author has been dead for 100 years. You need to answer those questions yourself. And I really like that concept. I think it makes it a lot of fun and a really enjoyable experience. And, it's what makes this show fantastic. It really opens up for interesting conversations and theories with other Twin Peaks fans. You never know, you might even revisit the show in a few years and come out with a completely different set of ideas. Or speak to someone who's interested in the show and have a completely different perspective on what was going on. It's awesome. But for now, I shall leave this video here. So stand by in the future for some Stranger Things videos in a week or two, so that's coming out soon. I may even try for another Twin Peaks theory if I see anything else I wanna really get into. Suggestions are always welcome as well from you guys in the comments. I do read them. And as always, feedback below is appreciated. Thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe for future content. And until next time, this is Mesh, and I'll see you later.